How about the educational system? What were you taught about money in school? Why were they teaching you about algebra and geometry and about George Washington, which is nothing is wrong with algebra and geometry and George Washington. Those are okay subjects. I have no issues with those subjects. But why weren't they also teaching you about how to calculate your net worth or how to build a business or how to manage your money or how to do an income statement or how to actually focus on having a balance sheet or how to control your spending or how to avoid debt or how about how to stack assets instead of stacking liabilities, right? Why weren't you taught all that in the education system that you went to, public or private, as regular curriculum? I don't mean as a one-off project you do once a year. I don't mean as a one-off elective that you take as a 12th grader, right? I'm talking about from day one, third grade, second grade, you can learn this stuff. Why weren't they teaching you about these intricate things that you're going to use every single day in your life? Where was the class about taxes when you was in the 9th grade? You should have learned that in the 6th grade because it's 6th grade math. Stacking assets is a 4th grade concept. It's not high level, but you weren't taught that. There's a reason the education system didn't teach you that, right? Think about the education that schools gave you and tell me if they prepared you how to handle your money and how to grow your money and how to build wealth. And they all use money every day. Every teacher you had and every building you ever stepped in used money every day. 30 or 40 or 50 or 60% of them had a house they owned. Why didn't they teach you about mortgages and about interest rates and about return on investment or about how to have house insurance? These are basic things. If you didn't have an insurance class before you were in the 9th grade, there's a reason you didn't have that insurance class. We all got to have insurance, whether it's health, life, car, renters, whatever it is. Why they didn't teach you about insurance when you was in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade? They don't teach this stuff because you are being trained to be broke. You're not being trained to be wealthy or to be rich. And that's why the mentality to be wealthy and rich is so difficult for many people. It's difficult because you haven't been conditioned that's not the norm. They don't teach a lot of stuff in schools, right? How to eat properly, how to manage your time, how to defend yourself, right? How to build a business, like I said, how to choose a career, how to figure out, what is your gift, your purpose. You're not taught any of that stuff. And those are the things that really matter in life in terms of your money and your finances and your wealth building. But they don't teach it in school. We're taught in schools to fit in to the machine, the cog, the machine called America and keeping America afloat. We're programmed through education to be poor, to be dependent, to not be wealthy, to not be rich. You gotta do something different to get wealth, as opposed to everything you've been taught that's been baked into your brain. Think about the consumer culture, materialism, advertising, society's pressure. Everywhere you go, there's a billboard, there's a commercial, there's a ad coming on your YouTube channel. Look, there could be an ad coming on this video right now. We have been taught to be consumers. Materialism. Stuff. The reason I was able to do so well on eBay, and I had an eBay store for 6-7 years. I still have an eBay store, right? I still have an eBay store to this day with it's still about 50, 60 items in it, but I don't actively sell them very often. I don't put them on sale to make sure to push them out. But the point is this: I had an eBay store for 6-7 years, really strong, where I sold over $100,000 in stuff on eBay. My margins were nearly 50%. So I made about $50,000 net income over the course of 6 or 7 years. And I learned something when I was doing eBay, when I was out sourcing for eBay, when I was out trying to find stuff to sell on eBay. Guess what I learned? I learned very, very clearly that we live in a culture of excess, because I could find $500 pairs of shoes for $7 at Goodwill. I could find stuff that I could take home and sell and resell. And we live in a culture of excess, a culture of materialism, a culture of consumption. And therefore, people have, if you haven't been to the latest consignment shop or thrift store in your city or your town, you're missing, because there's like very, very quality stuff there. Yeah, you might have to take it home, send it to the cleaners, or clean it yourself, or you might have to do something to it here and there, right? But there's quality stuff laying around for almost little or nothing because we live in a culture of consumption. People are encouraged to spend more than they make. Get the latest this, the latest that, the latest iPhone. Line up to get the latest shoes and what? It's crazy, right? But the way people spend their money so willingly, even through inflation was crazy for the last 3 years, right? Inflation's been crazy all over the world, but really last 3 years. But that didn't stop people from still living this life of excess. I mean, we're a consumption society. We're a debt society. And I got some more things to say about debt, but they taught us to spend, 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 take, consume, not produce. We're taught to consume. We're taught to spend and consume to keep the machine running. Again, I'm not a big conspiracy person. I'm just telling you what I've observed about how we've been trained to be broke and how we have to reprogram our mind if we want to be wealthy.